Indeed, you're watching Good Morning Kenya. This is Entertainment Thursday. My name is Mike. And now from matters to do with youth and governance, we talk matters to do with World Autism Day that is coming up on the 2nd of April 2025. And in studio already, I'm joined by Millicent Keter, who is the resident occupational therapist and at Autism Montessori and International School. Welcome to the program. And also Tabitha Miringo, who is the founding director, Autism Montessori International School. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
Now, let's talk about autism. And before we get even into the World Autism Day, maybe let me start with you. How can you define autism for a person who is watching this for the first time and they do not know what autism is? Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for having us this morning at the show. So autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder that mainly is diagnosed among children. It can be diagnosed as early as possible, depending on the prevailing circumstances at birth, even for a mother. And it's a developmental conditions that has symptoms such as speech delay, difficulty in social interactions. So you find a child wants to play in a solitary environment. They do not want to play with others. Then you find a child having difficulty in small tasks such as fine motor skills. So they're not able to do some little fine motor skills like, you know, tying their shoelaces, buttoning their shirts, or just simple fine motor tasks. So those are the simple presenting symptoms of someone with autism. Yeah.
For a person who may have such a child, what are the signs to look for, to look out for, if you may?
Thank you so much. So, for a parent who may be suspecting that their child has autism, so the child might present with different neurodevelopmental disorders. Example, so you might find that child preferring solitary play. So social skills is important in everyday life, because children learn through observing. Children learn through observing, playing with each other. So you find that child having difficulty in playing, socializing with other children. You find that child having delayed speech and communication. You will find that child having repetitive behaviors. So when I say repetitive behaviors, these are symptoms like hand flapping, spinning. That child also might not have eye contact. They may not respond to their names. You will call them and you feel like they are ignoring you, but in real sense they are not ignoring you. They listen to what you say, but they are not able to respond to their name. Yes.
Is autism the same as cerebral palsy or Down syndrome?
No. So they fall under the same category. They are the neurodevelopmental disorders, but they are presenting symptoms are different. For example, cerebral palsy, this happens during birth, when a child is not able, after birth, not able to cry, birth asphyxia. That means that the oxygen has not been taken to the brain. So and issues with the autism, it is congenital. It means that a child is born with it, and cerebral palsy, the child gets it, acquires it after birth. Yes.
Tabitha, at what age are we talking about noticing these signs of autism?
So autism, mainly according to the research that has been given, from about 12 months, you can be able to start seeing simple signs of a child who would probably develop a higher magnitude of autism. And as our OT has said, simple things like the child not being able to produce the very first sounds, you know, the babbling, the ma, the da, the small signs of speech development that come when a child is growing up. Those simple things at 12 months you can be able to detect. And then now as a child progresses, you'll start seeing that things like wanting to play by themselves. Some of the brain developments are not happening as per the clinical the clinical preservations that have been there. So that's why you see that at exactly 12 months, if a mother follows the procedures that have been given in the hospitals, they can be able to diagnose a child with autism. Yes.
And when it comes to delayed speech, does it mean that the child will never speak, or when they do start speaking, it will be a little bit hard for them to form coherent sentences?
Okay, speech and language development is one of the clear symptoms of a child that has autism. It's one of the presenting symptoms. So when a child goes, or a mother takes a child for diagnosis, or a parent takes a child for diagnosis, that is one of the symptoms they check. And the first thing that a parent should do is get an accurate diagnosis. When they get an accurate diagnosis and a symptom presents as speech development, now you start the process of autism intervention. And autism intervention begins by what we call occupational therapy. Yeah, occupational therapy is a type of therapy, and she will define it more, where a child is, because one of the presenting symptoms is a child who doesn't have good concentration.
Yes.
Yeah, a child who is very hyperactive. That's hyperactive behavior of a child with autism. So once a child goes through intensive occupational therapy, and we are satisfied that a child has gone through intensive occupational therapy, we now refer them for speech therapy, which now takes care of the language delay. Now they start the process of creation of speech to that child. So there is a whole process of speech development, and it comes with stages. So depending on the level of autism that the child has been diagnosed, because also autism is in levels. Yes. Now that's where we are going to know where to start on the speech therapy, so that we get on to the process of putting that child on the path of speech and language development. Yeah.
Before I come to you, you said autism has levels.
Yes.
Maybe you can talk about those levels. Yes.
So autism has different levels. They are very mild autism that presents with very mild symptoms. You know, mild symptoms means the hyperactivity levels are not as high. Yeah. So if I can talk about it in a classroom setup, they can sit still a maximum concentration of about 2 to 3 minutes. But now then we go to the moderate type of autism. We call it levels, level 1, 2, 3. And now there is the hyper, the very intense autism. Yeah, and now those different types of autism also have different types of interventions. And that also determines how you're going to intervene when it comes to speech and language development.
Okay. Yeah. Talk about occupational therapy now from the context of autism.
Okay, thank you. So first of all, allow me to define occupational therapy.
Please do.
So occupational therapists are health practitioners that help people of all ages, that is now from children to the adults, to overcome their challenges and gain independence. So when a person has challenges in physically, emotionally, or even mentally, that person will not be independent and may not be able to participate in daily living activities. So when that happens, occupational therapist comes in now. We promote independence. So in terms of autism, autism spectrum disorder, these are the children who have disorders or difficulty in communication, difficulty in social interaction, and difficulty in their mannerism, the way they do their things. So occupational therapists will come in now to intervene on the issues of social interaction, to help this child get the social skills, to help this child be able to regulate themselves. So for example, you might find a child with autism having the difficulty in sound, that is sensory issues. So they may be very, the sound that is coming from the environment, as they receive it through our senses, is so high for them. They're not able to process so they get sensory overload. So an occupational therapist will come in with activities that will help that child be able to regulate himself in any given setting, whether it's a social setting, whether it's a classroom, so that they are able to regulate and fit in to the environment without difficulties. Yes.
Now, are there, or what are the main characteristics of autism that may affect communication behavior and social interaction?
So the characteristics, as we have said, are now the challenges with the interacting, because now a child who has autism has social skill deficit. That child will not be able to initiate a conversation or keep up a going conversation. That child will not be able to maintain eye contact. You know, interacting now, you have to look at me, eye contact. So that child will not be able to have that eye contact. And that means that child will not be able to communicate. That child will have issues with their mannerism, the way they do their things, the way they process information from the environment. So it means that child will not be able to communicate. Yes, will have challenges in expressing their needs. So it means that they will have challenges in fitting in the society. Yes.
Tabitha, what was the idea behind establishing a school with the autistic children?
Okay, so maybe I can start by talking about Eden Safe. So Eden Safe Montessori, we are located in Utawala. Now we follow Montessori and international curriculum. And when you look at the word Montessori, children with autism, when they go to a setup where they present symptoms of autism, when they are getting advice in terms of their educational approach to give a child with autism, remember they are school-going children, they are always referred to a Montessori school. So we realized that being a Montessori school, we get a lot of children who present symptoms of autism. And so because we have the capacity, because one of the developing research is in taking care of children with autism is sensory integration. And sensory integration means using the available materials in the environment to be able to deal with the needs that autistic children have. And because of that, we decided to establish a department or a section that takes care of children with these neurodevelopmental conditions, and we take care of them. So we take care of children with autism and children with ADHD, and we also take care of children with learning disabilities. Yes, and yeah.
Okay, now let's get back to occupational therapy.
Yes.
For a child, let's say, case in point, a child has mild autism.
Yes.
Are they able to develop speech in time and they can speak fluently, or it will not be fully there? It's there, yes, but it's not fully implemented.
Okay, thank you. So a child with mild autism, that is level 1. So those children are high functioning. So most of the children with the level 1 autism, they are independent. So they may require a little help in maybe emotional regulation, social skills, but most of the children are independent. So those children with autism level 1, they may get good speech, and though they might have challenges in initiating the communication, but they can keep up in a communication or a conversation. Yes.
So it might dwindle in years. The autism aspect, the mild autism aspect, may go down in years, and they can be speak normally.
Yes. So a child with the level 1 autism, when they get the right intervention, an early intervention, the autism symptoms might reduce, and they can fit in the society very well, and they can do their normal daily living tasks. Yes.
We'll come back to the activities, the occupational activities that can help these kids.
Yes.
But how is it having these kids, Tabitha, now in school? How is the environment? How is it in general?
All right. Of course, at first, it was quite challenging. But you realize when these children, the parents come in, they come in when they are really in need of help and in need of support. And when we bring them on board, we we have created an environment of which we call it's an environment of inclusivity. And if you look at inclusivity, even according to, if you look at the research that has been done by UNICEF, one of the greatest barriers to education globally, they have recognized it as disability.
Yes.
And autism is a brain disability. It's a brain disability, and those children are highly stigmatized, highly discriminated in the society. There is no acceptance in society. And so we bring them on board so that even the children we call neurotypical, that is the regular children, they are able to appreciate that in the society we have differently abled children, and they also get to grow in their values, values of empathy, values of acceptance, values of help. And so that is a kind of an environment we have created. And of course, when those children come to us, specialists such as our therapists are there ready to assist them. We also partner with the Kenya Institute of Special Education, who give us the necessary capacity building mechanisms to enable us to do capacity building for our teachers, and even beef up our equipment, and help us in one way or another so that the environment is conducive to give these children the right approach to their education, because they are different and they cannot learn like other children. There needs to be specialized way of approaching their learning.
Yes.
Yes.
Millicent, are there effective therapies? What are some of the effective therapies for children with autism?
So when we are doing intervention for children with autism, we use an umbrella sensory integration. So under sensory integration, we use therapeutic activities to help these children regulate themselves. So sensory integration is the ability of a person to get information from the environment through our senses, integrate it, and then execute the function. So you find a child with autism having those difficulties in processing information from the environment. So apart from the 5 senses that we know, we have extra 3 senses, that is interoceptive, proprioception, and vestibular. So you find these children with autism spectrum disorder having these challenges. Interoceptive is that ability of the body to be aware that you are thirsty, the body to be aware that you are full, you've eaten, that you are full, or you are hungry. So you find that child eating throughout, because the body is not able to sense or be aware that I've eaten and I'm full. So a child with the vestibular issues will have a problem with the balance, the movement, and spatial awareness. A child with the challenges with proprioception will have issues with the ability of body to detect a space. So you find those children having difficulty in fine motor skills, regulating their emotions, because now they are not able to communicate. So we use sensory integration as an approach so that we are able to make these children regulate themselves. So example of techniques that are under now the sensory integration are now the vestibular stimulation activities. Those are like trampoline, therapy ball, hammock, spinning. So those activities help them because when you hear the word autism spectrum means they present differently. So these children, they are not the same, they present differently. So there are those who are sensory seekers, their body are seeking more, and there are those who are avoidant. So we use different activities according to the way they present differently. Yes, so there are those who are, you will do the slow rocking because of their sensory need, so that they are able to process and be able to manage themselves and regulate and fit in a classroom. Yes.
Let's talk about interaction with other kids. Let me use the word quote unquote.
Yes.
Does that help in speech development?
Yes.
How is that? How does that play out? Away from the therapy and everything to do with the therapist, does that interaction? How does that interaction help?
The interaction of children with other children.
Yes.
So children learn by observing, and as I had said earlier that occupational therapists we use occupation. So for example, a child's occupation is play. So play helps children in social and emotional being. It helps them in cognitive development. It helps them in learning through environment. So as a child is playing with other children, they are able to observe what the other children are doing, and they are able to do a parallel or a structured play, which has rules, which needs us to communicate. So when we expose the neurodiverse and neurotypical children together, the neurodiverse children are able to learn from the neurotypical by observing whatever they do, and that can help them in socializing. Yes.
Indeed. Now, Tabitha, would you recommend someone to take a child with autism, regardless of the level, to a special school, or it depends with the severity of it?
Okay, in terms of recommending, number one, it's good to say that when your child starts presenting the symptoms we have talked about, you need to get a proper diagnosis. Once you get a proper diagnosis, the diagnosis will indicate the level. There is a medical diagnosis, and then there is an educational assessment. The medical diagnosis informs the educational assessment. So the educational assessment gives you a recommendation of whether to go to a regular school or to a special school. Most of the times, pediatricians recommend that if a child is able to go to a regular school, the better. Because as she has said, the neurotypical and neurodivergent, if a neurodivergent sees the way a neurotypical child behaves, they see a structured environment. They know we do this at this time, and that is how some of the symptoms, the severity reduces, because the brain is able to now start planning itself, that we do this at this time, So I would recommend that a child, because most of the times, most parents don't follow the correct order. You need to go to a medical facility, they give you a medical diagnosis, then you get an educational assessment that gives you placement of your child depending on the diagnosis that you get. Yes.
Millicent, what do you think is the biggest misconception about autism?
So thank you. So we are in a society that has not yet embraced disability. So people believe that autism, I read somewhere, and people were saying that autism is caused by multiple sexual partners. Others will say the poor parenting, that this child's behavior, because most of the time, autistic children, they view the world different, the way as we view the world. So you will find that child doing a thing that maybe we feel in the society that it is not right. So you find people saying that this is poor parenting from parents. And again, you find people saying that autism is for people who have money. They are from countries that are developed countries. So you find that now coming into our country, Kenya, it has not yet been fully embraced and accepted in the society because of the misconceptions. Yes.
Now, Tabitha, as she is saying, information or lack thereof affects how people perceive autism. But then again, there's the role of educators in all these aspects. Maybe you can talk about that. Yes.
So one of the, as I said earlier, disability has been seen as the greatest barriers of education. And if you look at even the Convention for People with Disabilities and what the research has said, one of the things that educators need to do is create platforms and spaces where all children get equal right to education. That is even what UNICEF is trying to do, just making education an equal right for everybody. And there, one tool I can recommend for educators to use is what we are calling inclusive education. And inclusivity is something that is very wide, where you create an environment where children children with disability, and in this case autism, ADHD and all other learning disabilities, they get an opportunity to get quality education the same way neurotypical children are getting education. They should not shy away, but they should create an environment where all people in their settings they create a way that there can be capacity building for teachers. Because one thing I have seen is that most of the times, even our educators, our teachers, they fear having children with neurodiverse children because they don't have the necessary skills, you know, to handle children that present symptoms of autism. So educators, lead educators, must create an inclusive setup. It doesn't come, you know, in the tap of a button. It's a system that you create over time. Inclusivity is a process. Even at Eden Safe, inclusivity is a process. We start by having inclusive school. After that, we keep growing into inclusive classrooms. So educators must embrace inclusivity. Yeah, they must embrace inclusivity. Yes.
Is it included in the current education system, the CBC? Is it inclusive of children with autism?
Yes, actually, the current government has done very well. They have even created a very good curriculum of children with special needs under KICD, where they have outlined all the learning areas that children are supposed to handle. And the problem is we have very good documents, but implementation is the problem. Yeah, the curriculum is there. It is very wide. It is elaborate. It has specific techniques, the learning outcomes, the objectives, the learning materials. They are available. The government has created materials available, but the challenge and the gap is in capacity building. There can be a document that says there should be creative art, there should be motor skills learning for these children, there should be literacy activities, there should be sensory integration as part of their timetable. But our teachers, do the teachers have the necessary skills to implement? You see, and that is why as at our level, we are trying to use the little resources that we have to create capacity in our teachers. Because interestingly, if you look at the statistics that we have right now, the rates of children with autism are growing by the day. You see, globally 1 in 160 children have autism. In Kenya, 4% of children. Yeah, in Kenya, 1 in 25, a child has autism. You see, so even in the education sector, we cannot ignore a child with autism. Yes. We must create capacity so that when they come, we are able to accommodate them and give them the right education for their presenting symptoms. Yes.
Millicent, if you're talking about challenges, what are the common challenges that children with autism face, especially when it comes to socializing, and how can they be improved?
So the challenges that the children with autism face is one of the most challenges expressive communication. So you find that the other neurotypical children may not be able to understand them. So a child may want to play or might want to initiate the play, but now they are not able to communicate, so that now they are able to do a parallel play, an interactive play or a structured play. So that is one of the challenges. Another challenge is that the society is not well conversant about autism. So you find that people will wonder what happened to this child. This child is not able to play with others. This child is not able to communicate. So those are the challenges that the children with autism are still facing. So despite their challenges with the sensory issues, because sometimes they have challenges with the going into an environment that has a lot of people, the social environment, because of their sensory issues. So those are the challenges that they may have, because now in a social setting they might find it very difficult because of the loud sound, because of the anxiety of that environment. So they find it challenging for them to develop the social skills. Yes.
You know, we're talking about autism and all these things, but the aspect of stigma is still there. To what level is it there, and how can we stem it out and ensure that people understand autism at different levels and approach it from an informed perspective? Yes,
so stigmatization is still high. Because now the awareness has not yet reached everyone, especially now in the village settings. So you find people in the village setting, they are not aware even what is autism. they have never even seen an autistic child. So when that happens in a setting like that in the village, you find that parent will not even take that child to school. Why? Because now, as Mr. Beda had talked about the inclusivity, you find most schools in the village, they don't have the inclusivity, or if they have, they don't have the right equipments to be able to manage the children with autism. So you find the parent is not able to give the child whatever the child might need. Why? Because in that societal settings, there's a lot of stigmatization. There are no equipments. There are no right personnel who understand autism. So it will lead to that parent keeping the child at home, and that child will not get the right education. Yes. So.
Yes, continue.
So stigmatization is a very big challenge in the society as we are speaking now. Yes.
Tabitha, do you think there are cultural biases that have contributed to the stigma around autism?
Well, I think the stigma around autism is coming from a place of lack of information. Where you find that people do not, because of the prevailing, a disease like autism or a condition like autism is growing over time because of the changes in the lifestyle, the systems of the world. So you find that information needs to go out. Awareness needs to go out. There needs to be a lot of advocacy, at discussion levels. Then it trickles down so that when information goes out, even the cultural issues that may be tied towards autism. For example, if you look at research, it says that maybe Asians, Black Americans are the ones who get autism. They don't think it's something that should be affecting Africans. You see, so once information goes out through maybe advocacy initiatives, awareness initiatives, the issues surrounding the misconceptions surrounding autism will die out once there is a lot of awareness.
Now, the World Autism Day is coming up, and Millicent, what is the importance of this day to anyone who is, or any parent who has a child with autism at whatever level?
So World Autism Awareness Day is very important to every child, not only the children with autism and the parents who have children with autism, but getting aware or getting informed about autism, because you might know what can happen in future. We are developing, and everything is changing. The lifestyle is changing, and everything is changing. So making people know what autism is, what management can be done, how can it be done, it makes people even embrace autism. It makes those parents who have children with autism being able to come out, because now there's no fear. So when you go to a church, you find a parent, most of the parents, they don't bring their children to church. Why? Because the children might have challenges, and people, because they are not informed or they are not aware, they might view it different, that this parent has no good parenting. So when we create this awareness about autism, it will make those parents have confidence and come out with their children, and the children will get help where they need. Yes.
Tabitha, I'll throw the same question to you. And do you think having such a day enhances the knowledge about autism to anyone who maybe is facing the same challenge?
I would say yes. Because when you have World Autism Day, it means even the policymakers are seeing this as something that needs to be discussed, that needs to be addressed, that needs to be brought into the limelight. Because one of the challenges, even with research, has found out that autism has been left out in policy making. You see, and so having a World Autism Awareness Day makes it even better, because policymakers are able to identify there is a condition affecting education that needs some policy documents, that needs some regulations, that needs some issues to be addressed, and that helps in creating awareness. even about the condition to anybody who may be in need of helping in this. Yes.
At the grassroots level, what do you think the local leaders need to do to enhance this awareness and make sure that we stem out or we lessen the stigma surrounding autism?
Yeah, at the local level, at grassroots level, there are the local leadership that takes care of the local mwananchi. For example, people like chiefs.
Yes.
Yeah, chiefs know the conditions that children have, you know, the nyumba kumis. And the local leaders need to be brought on board in policy making so that they are aware. First of all, what is autism? What are the presenting symptoms? And when they see a mother with such a child, what can they do? You see? Because we have the local leaders who don't even know what autism is. But if we have at the grassroots levels, the people, the policy makers coming down to the place where they take the chiefs, they take the women leaders, chama leaders, they take the church leaders, they take the village elders, they tell them there is a condition called autism. And these are the presenting symptoms. If you see a parent who has these presenting symptoms, tell them not to leave the child in the house. Let them bring them and they can get help. So the policy makers, and that is why World Autism Day is very important, because it shows there is some action happening. Let it trickle down now to the local people. Even churches having ministry arms that talk about, you know, children with who are differently abled. That is how we can reach the local person. Because at the end of the day, the village elders, the chiefs, the sub-chiefs, the health leaders, you know, they are the ones interacting with the local mwananchi, because there are many, many children who are in homes, you see, presenting such symptoms because of the misconceptions, the stigma, being told you're not a good mother, you're not a good parent, you know, so they leave them there and there is help.
That is true. And there's also the role of the family and caregivers. Millicent, how can they support their loved one who has autism in a meaningful and dignified way?
Well, occupational therapist works hand in hand with the special needs educators and the caregivers. So in terms of caregivers, they work hand in hand with the occupational therapist to help these children get the social skills, to help these children in terms of communication. So when we go to the umbrella of communication, there is a speech communication and this language. So speech is now the speaking now coming out, the expressive language, and then there's that language of understanding. Now when you tell a child to go get something, that child is able to understand what you've said and go get something that you've sent him to. So when a caregiver and an occupational therapist work hand in hand closely, they are able to help their children at home so that their children are able to get understood. Because sometimes, because they are not able to express themselves, they might need something and the parents are not even understanding what the child might need, which might lead that child having tantrums, not able to regulate their emotions because they are not able to express and no one is able to understand them. So when a parents get the right advocacy from, of course, the occupational therapist and other health practitioners, they are able now to help the children at home, because you find out that a caregiver stays with that child most of the times. So when this caregiver is able to understand this child, that caregiver is able to help that child to achieve their milestones without problem. Another thing is that children with autism, they are affected by a change in routine, they are affected by a change in diet, they are affected by a change in an environment. So when a parent or a caregiver is able to understand that my child, when I take my child to a different environment, this child will be affected. So that parent is able to tell this child prior going to church or prior going to that different environment, that we are going to this different environment and this is what we are going to do. So children with autism needs a routine to be told earlier, because for them changing a routine, a little change might affect them because of their sensory issues. So when a parent is able to understand this child and able to tell this child, this is what we are doing today, this is where we are going today, that child will not have issues with emotions, will not have issues with tantrums, because already he or she was aware and was able to process whatever is coming. Yes.
Now, this is to both of you. I want you to speak to any parent or give them hope. Maybe they have just received this diagnosis. Let me start with you. What would you tell them?
Number one, if I would talk to a parent who has just received a diagnosis, your child is autistic, your child has a ADHD, attention deficiency, hyperactivity syndrome, my word to you is that there is hope. There is hope. It's not the end of the road. With proper therapy interventions, with a proper multidisciplinary approach, because right educational setup, right health practitioners, therapists, occupational speech therapists, the right parenting in a good conducive environment that talks about acceptance, reducing stigma, love, right caregiving that is empowered and skilled, your child can get out of that condition slowly and be able to live up to their full potential. We have big names like Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla, SpaceX. They have shared openly about their struggles with autism. You know, the philanthropist, Bill Gates, they have shared their struggles about autism, and look at them. They're now living up to their full potential as influencing almost every sector of society. So your child can actually be the next big name if you don't lose hope, but also seek the right interventions for your child.
Yes.
Yes.
Millicent.
Thank you. So I want to speak to that parent who is still feeling like I'm lost. So I want to tell that parent that first of all is acceptance, coming into acceptance that this is my child and this is the blessing that God gave me. So children with autism, it doesn't mean that it is the end of the world. So you find children with autism, they are very interesting. They are very unique. If you stay with them, you will learn a lot through them. So if you understand them, you will be able even to learn through them. Yeah, so I want to tell that parent that take it and help that child develop, identify the skills. They have very unique skills. They are very detailed, and when they are able to do something, they do it perfectly. Yes. So if you are able to identify the skill of that child, you will be able to help that child and make that child be very productive. Yes. So I want to tell that mother, that father, or that caregiver that is still in denial, that come into acceptance, get the right intervention for your child, get good advocacy and understand your child.
Yes.
Yes.
Tabitha, there's an event coming up.
Yes. So
tell us about it.
So on 29th of March, that is this Saturday, the day after tomorrow, we have what we call an Autism Awareness Walk. The Autism Awareness Walk is an event geared at raising awareness about autism, helping us spread the word in our community that there is autism. These are the presenting symptoms. Accept children with autism because there are very many in the society. Let's reduce discrimination. Let us accept these children. Let us love them, and let us participate in the process of helping them live up to their full potential. That's the aim of that Autism Awareness Walk on Saturday. Yeah, and we invite everybody to come and join us in this call so that autism can be out there. We reduce the stigma, make it part of us. Let these children come out, let society know that these children are regular, they are normal, they can be part of society, and they can live up to their full potential. So this Saturday, it's going to be happening in Utawala, and we welcome you to join us, and let's join hands and make this a good day.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed. Thank you so much for making time to come on Good Morning Kenya and actually sharing information regarding autism. That is Tabitha Miringo, who is the founding director, Eden Safe Montessori International School, and also Millicent Keter, who is a resident occupational therapist at Eden Safe Montessori and International School, speaking to us about autism and the World Autism Awareness Day that is coming up on the 2nd of April. This is where we end this conversation. My name is Mike Migwi. Thank you for tuning in. I want to leave you with a little bit of some good music. Keep it KBC Channel 1. Good morning.